I'm 86 years old, and there's a decision I made when I was 34 that I still think about almost every single day. Not because it was obviously wrong at the time. That's what makes it worse. It seemed like the right thing to do. It seemed responsible. Everyone around me agreed. My wife supported it. My friends congratulated me. Even my father, the one person it would affect the most, told me I should do it. But he was lying, and I knew he was lying, and I did it anyway. I want to tell you what happened. Not because I think it will fix anything. It won't. I've made peace with the fact that some things stay broken no matter how much time passes. But maybe you're standing at a crossroads right now. Maybe you're about to make a decision that feels practical, that feels smart, that feels like what a good person would do. And maybe hearing this will make you stop, just for a moment, long enough to ask yourself what you might be giving up. In 1973, I was offered a position at a company in another state. It was a significant step up, more money, more prestige, the kind of opportunity that doesn't come twice. I was 34, married, 2 young kids. We were living about 20 minutes from my parents at the time. My mother had passed 3 years earlier, and my father was alone in the house I grew up in. He was 67, healthy enough. Still drove himself to the hardware store every Saturday. Still read the paper on the porch. Still called me every Sunday evening, right around 6, just to talk about nothing in particular. When the job offer came, I told him about it over the phone. I remember the silence before he spoke. "That's a big opportunity," he said. "It is," I said. "You thinking about taking it?" "I don't know yet." Another pause. "You should take it," he said. "Don't stay here on my account. I'll be fine." And I believed him, or I made myself believe him, because it was easier, because I wanted the job, because I had spent my whole life being told that a man provides, a man advances, a man doesn't turn down a chance like this. So I took it. We moved that spring. My wife handled most of the packing. The kids were too young to understand what was happening. I told myself we'd visit often. I told myself the distance wasn't that far. I told myself my father had his routines, his friends, his church. I told myself a lot of things. The first year wasn't so bad. We came back for Thanksgiving, stayed a few days. My father looked the same, maybe a little thinner. He didn't say much, but he never said much. I thought everything was fine. The second year, we missed Thanksgiving because of work. Came for Christmas instead. My father had aged. His hand shook a little when he poured his coffee. The house was messier than I remembered. Not dirty, just neglected. Small things piling up. I told myself I'd come back more often. I didn't. By the third year, the phone calls had slowed down. He stopped calling every Sunday. Sometimes 2 or 3 weeks would pass. When I did call him, the conversations were short. He sounded tired, not sad exactly, just tired. I asked him once if he was okay. "I'm fine," he said, "just getting old." I laughed. He didn't. In the spring of 1977, I got a call from a neighbor, Mrs. Hayward. She lived 2 doors down from my father's house. She told me she hadn't seen him in a few days. His car was in the driveway, but the blinds were closed. I caught a flight that afternoon. When I got to the house, I found him sitting in his chair in the living room. He wasn't dead, but something in him had shut down. He had stopped eating regularly, stopped going outside. The mail was piled up by the door, dishes in the sink. He looked at me when I walked in. Didn't seem surprised. "You didn't have to come," he said. I sat down across from him. "Dad, what's going on?" He didn't answer right away. Just looked at the window. "I ran out of reasons to keep doing things," he said quietly. That sentence has stayed with me for almost 50 years. I moved him into a care facility a month later. It was the responsible decision. He needed help I couldn't provide from 1,000 miles away. The staff was kind. The room was clean. He had meals and company and people checking on him. But it wasn't home. I visited when I could, 2, maybe 3 times a year. Each time he seemed smaller, not just physically. His voice got quieter. His eyes looked past me more often than at me. One visit, I brought the kids. They were teenagers by then. They didn't know what to say to him. He didn't know what to say to them. We sat in that room for an hour, making small talk about school and weather. When we left, my son asked me, "Is Grandpa always like that?" I didn't know how to answer, because the truth is, I didn't know anymore. I didn't know who my father had become in the years I wasn't there. I didn't know what he thought about, what he felt, what he remembered. I had chosen a job, and in doing so, I had chosen to become a stranger to my own father. He passed in 1982. I was there at the end. Flew in when the doctor said it was close. He was barely conscious by the time I arrived. I sat beside his bed and held his hand. It was the first time I had touched him in longer than I could remember. At one point, his eyes opened. He looked at me, and for a moment, I thought he was going to say something important. Something that would make it all okay. Some final word that would release me from the guilt I was already starting to feel. But he just said my name, quietly, like he was confirming I was really there. Then he closed his eyes. He died the next morning. People say grief fades, and in some ways, it does. The sharp pain dulls. You stop crying in the shower. You start to remember the good things without the sting. But regret is different. Regret doesn't fade. It just changes shape. At first, I regretted not visiting more. Then I regretted not calling more. Then I regretted not asking him what he was really feeling. Then I regretted taking that job in the first place. And eventually, I arrived at the deepest regret of all. I regretted assuming there would be more time. That's the thing no one tells you when you're young. You think time is infinite. You think the people you love will always be there. You think you can delay the important things because life is long and there will be other chances. But there won't. My father lived 9 more years after I moved. 9 years. That sounds like a lot. But I spent maybe 30 days with him during that entire stretch. 30 days out of 9 years. And in those 30 days, I was distracted, tired from travel, thinking about work, counting down the hours until I could leave. I was there, but I wasn't present. And now he's been gone for over 40 years. And I still think about that phone call, the one where he told me to take the job, the one where he said he'd be fine. I should have heard what he wasn't saying. I should have known that when a parent tells you to go, sometimes they're hoping you'll stay. I'm not telling you this to make you feel sorry for me. I'm telling you because you might be standing where I stood. You might be weighing a decision right now, a promotion, a move, a chance to advance your career or chase something you think you want. And maybe there's someone in your life who's telling you to go. Someone who says they'll be fine. Someone who doesn't want to hold you back. Listen carefully, because sometimes love speaks in code. Sometimes the people who need you most are the ones who will never ask you to stay. I had a good career. I made good money. I retired comfortably. By most measures, I succeeded. But I would give all of it back for one more year with my father, one more year of Sunday phone calls, one more year of sitting on that porch talking about nothing. I would give it all back just to hear him say my name one more time. Not in a hospital bed, not at the end, just on a regular afternoon, the way he used to. I'm 86 now. My wife passed 7 years ago. My children have their own lives. They call when they can. They visit when it's convenient. I understand. I was the same way, and that's the hardest part of getting old. You start to see your own choices reflected in the people you raised. You see the patterns repeating. You want to warn them, but you know they won't listen. Because I didn't listen either. If you made it this far, I want to thank you. Not for watching, but for letting an old man say what he needed to say. I don't have advice. I don't have answers. I just have this. One decision 52 years ago. It seemed right at the time, and I've carried it with me every single day since. That's all. That's the whole story.